And good morning, everyone, and thank you for the opportunity to speak with you here today. I'm really honored to be here, and it is a privilege to speak on behalf of Japan, the country of honor, here at MIPCOM 2016. This year's theme, Spirit of Imagination, has provided a wonderful framework to share my thoughts about the interesting and intersecting worlds of technology and creativity, while sharing Japan's contributions to innovation in both fields. I'm also excited to share the advancements that we've seen within Sony that are transforming content creation as well as content delivery. Now, during my tenure at Sony and my time in Japan, I've really seen some great ideas, once thought to just be the musings of the imagination, become movies, become games, and even real products. And my passion for technology and engineering, as well as my belief that creativity gives technology relevance, is continually expanding. And I see great opportunities for what we can accomplish as an industry as we explore the potential synergies in storytelling and in technology. Now, in Japan, the spirit of imagination has resulted in remarkable influences on pop culture worldwide. Japanese culture, its art, food, fashion, entertainment, and technology, and of course lifestyle, sets trends globally. Trend spotters really search for what's new and what's next. They always visit Tokyo to explore the retail and cultural landscape. Youth culture, in particular, offers unexpectedly original forms of creative and technological fusion. Wearable technologies, an obsession with social media, innovative robotics, and cutting-edge style are discovered throughout Japan. Now, I know that if you have actually visited Tokyo, you know what I mean. The frenetic retail center, say Harajuku, has influenced self-expression like unlike any in the world. It is a place to discover new style, dress up, and individual expression. Now, in contrast to the urban beat of Harajuku, you might also have discovered one of the popular, say, kitten, puppy, or bunny cafes that have popped up, offering weary city dwellers a place to find respite from the buzz of urban life. And the people of Tokyo don't shy away from countless ways technology and electronics can be incorporated into their lives. Rates of early adoption for new mobile technologies in Japan are unsurpassed. And throughout Tokyo, there is a fascinating juxtaposition of history and progress, tradition and cutting-edge style. And consistent with the energy and intrigue of the Tokyo street scene and Japanese culture, creators and storytellers, animators and game developers working in Japan have also developed their own unique brand of artistic expression. From these creative minds, games like Biohazard or Resident Evil, as it is known outside of Japan, have become worldwide franchises inspiring gamers, toys, and of course movies as well. Japanese game shows like Money Dragon, widely known as Shark Tank or Dangerous Den, and Unbeatable Banzuke have tapped into the zeitgeist and spawned spin-offs around the globe. And Japanese cinema classic Akira Kurosawa's Seven Samurai was actually the inspiration for Sony Pictures and MGM's recent critically acclaimed blockbuster, The Magnificent Seven. And perhaps no art form, however, has been influential or widely celebrated as Japanese anime. Anime is a remarkable storytelling genre and powerful global export for Japan. It showcases the meticulous artistry and craftsmanship of Japanese animators with the playful yet purposeful sensibility for which Japan is known. One of their biggest titles, Sword Art Online, is currently being adapted into an animated movie that will premiere next spring. Anime has generated passionate fan engagement, and beyond what they watch, fans' enthusiasm is seen in the real world as well. You've seen this. Cosplay, anime conferences, cafes, and anime music are increasing in popularity, influencing fashion, lifestyles in cities around the world, in Paris, Los Angeles, New York, and London. And even voiceover talent for anime has generated a cult-like following as well. Anime is a genre and a storytelling device finding audiences across the globe, and for good reason. Its unique style continues to deliver enchanting entertainment. Great content like Japanese anime can create multiple business opportunities, generating spin-offs, sequels, local versions, and consumer touchpoints, and events, merchandising as well. And at Sony and across the industry, we look for IP that can take multiple forms and work across platforms: gaming, music, movies, television, and of course more. And here at MIPCOM this year, Sony Pictures is showcasing incredible content. Bold films like Passengers, Dark Tower, and addictive television series like The Halcyon, Blacklist Redemption, and of course, Timeless. From our television productions to our film studio to our media network, here's a brief look at what Sony has to offer to all of you. Let's take a look. Now, in the many years I spent at Sony working in entertainment, electronics, and technology, I have seen extraordinary advances in all of these industries. As was introduced earlier, I spent the first 10 years of my career in Sony's music division. However, the possibilities of engaging and immersive technologies beckoned, and the next 15 years, I was at PlayStation, where it became clear how intertwined the worlds of creativity and technology were becoming. When PlayStation was introduced, I could see the vast potential of computer entertainment, sensing it would inspire new experiences for gamers alike and creators. And while working at PlayStation, you could not only see but feel. You can feel the ways creativity and technologies were coming together. Innovative ideas, stories, or games stimulated demand for better technologies, and PlayStation responded with even more powerful processing, higher fidelity graphics, and intensely engaging content. Now, with PlayStation 4 and PlayStation VR in the marketplace, Sony is the standard bearer for the state-of-the-art. As our technology advanced, it stimulated the minds and imaginations of developers. The possibilities for storytelling and content creation became virtually unlimited. Across our vast talent network of writers, producers, engineers, designers, and developers, we continually ask ourselves, how can storytelling be further transformed by technological innovation? How can we do that? One thing we know for sure is that delivery channels are changing, as you all know. Consumers want freedom from traditional network schedules and, of course, cable boxes. And this has created an opportunity for more immersive storytelling. Demand for all kinds of new addictive content has also changed viewing behavior as well. While we used to watch TV dramas once a week, we can now stream all episodes at once, or increasingly watch whatever, whenever, and wherever we want. We record, we save, we watch when we want, and we expect on demand. We flip from one device to another. It's all a part of the new media landscape, and storytelling has been transformed by these changes. Binge viewing has led to a sea change in the way TV programming is created. Storytellers can think and write in longer story arcs, almost as if they are creating 3, 6, or 10-hour movies. Growing demand for must-see content has attracted more writers, directors, and stars to television. And today, perhaps there's more good television programming than ever before in history, and much of it, of course, is produced by our own Sony Pictures Television and producers of the Emmy-winning Breaking Bad, the show that mainstreamed binge watching, changing our viewing habits forever. These changing consumer habits are also challenging us to think differently about how we distribute programming as well. What we do know is that global demand for content is growing, as is the spending for network content. But viewers are setting the standards as they increasingly seek to catch up and on-demand options in addition to traditional live viewership. Networks and delivery channels must provide more flexible viewing to keep the audiences fully engaged. Now, I can remember, say just about 20 years ago, when Friday movie night might begin in the neighborhood Blockbuster to go rent a movie, or soon thereafter with the delivery of a DVD from, say, a service like Netflix. Now, all of this content is streaming and is on demand. Immediate, easy, and no late fees. Each advancement in content delivery is a part of a progression that more completely meets consumers where they are, where they want to enjoy content. The television distribution market continues to grow, but is far more complex. While emerging markets seeking more Hollywood product, there is also a desire to take a more tailored approach to programming networks as well. With more and more choices in how viewers access content, what we're seeing is a greater imperative to be very strategic. Matching the right products with the right programming buyers. There's growing demand for must-have content among larger channels who command premium pricing and more niche channels targeting loyal followers seeking a more modest pricing model for only the content that they want. Today's content creators have tremendous potential to attract audiences, but the consumer is always in control, as never before. And matching the right content with the right channel, as I said, is very essential. And at Sony, we can see how important continued advancements of technology is to provide more efficient access to the wealth of available programming. So whether it's the use of playlists or smart technologies that get to know viewers and their preferences, there is tremendous potential in identifying better ways to deliver quality entertainment experiences that are, once again, tailored to the viewer's tastes. And that's why we've been focused on PlayStation Vue, a cloud-based live TV service that allows consumers to have greater freedom in how they discover and how they access content. It enables users to cut the cord from traditional cable providers, highlighting the content you want, and over time, learning your preferences to such content you would not want to miss. It is my intention to use our experience at Sony as both an electronics enterprise and an entertainment company to meet the demands of a changing media landscape. And I hope you will engage with us in this pursuit. By sharing your ideas, we can identify or develop new technologies from state-of-the-art cameras to improved and flexible delivery formats that fully render what's possible. In this multi-platform, multi-channel world, viewer preferences are as personal and individual as they are. And this is why our efforts over the past few years have been focused both on providing entertainment experiences that elicit kando, our Japanese term for emotional involvement or moving people emotionally. The promise to deliver kando means we are always thinking about not only what we can do or how we'll create it, but why. Why? Will our efforts make your life better, more rewarding, more meaningful? This is why we have continually advanced visual imaging to make the viewing experience better and more fulfilling. From standard definition to high definition to 4K ultra high definition to high dynamic range or HDR, better imaging amplifies better content. And for creators, this means that the visual expression of their work has become more realistic, enabling them to portray the intensity or the subtlety of their ideas with greater visual imagery and, of course, quality. HDR-capable displays are now taking it a step further. Actually, HDR contains 100 times wider dynamic range of colors and brightness than the current TV broadcast standards. This is screen quality closer than ever to what the actual human eye can see. 4K has become more frequently utilized in production, and all Sony Pictures Television's new scripted shows are now shot in 4K. It also continues to be a standard in consumer televisions, and more of these are being installed every day as we speak. And at the same time, HDR is emerging as a signature for high-quality movie productions and is now coming to games and even TV dramas. Now, I'm particularly excited to see the HDR TV dramas that will be showcased by Japanese broadcasters NHK and WOW later today. This screening is a part of the MIPCOM reception party and will be delivered, of course, by Sony's 4K HDR compatible cinema projector. Seeing is believing. So for those of you who haven't experienced HDR, I invite you to please join the screening later this evening or check it out at our demo at Sony's 4K Ultra HD Theater. You will see why we're so excited about our screen technology and image capture to transform production and, at the same time, wow audiences to bring that Kando experience. For decades, Japan has been setting the trends in electronics and in technology. The Japanese have harnessed science, technology, and engineering to enhance and enrich our lives through groundbreaking consumer technologies, advanced digital imaging, and unparalleled audiovisual experiences. And today, Sony takes a giant leap forward with the introduction of virtual reality. Just 4 days ago, PlayStation VR entered the marketplace. So let's take a look at some of the incredible game content that's available for PlayStation VR. Let's take a look at the video. That's pretty amazing stuff. And if you have not tried it, please, you've got to the PlayStation VR and experience the immersive entertainment content for yourselves. So I encourage you to experience it firsthand. So Sony is well positioned to set trends in virtual reality as well. First, with PlayStation VR, just as you saw, we are able to provide an entirely new gaming experience. Also, we have paid close attention to audience reaction to early VR exposure and intend to respond with a variety of content beyond gaming. Across Sony, our content divisions are working on VR entertainment as we seek to grow the industry. And for example, Sony Pictures has developed stunning VR experiences based on its films The Walk, Goosebumps, Ghostbusters, and Sony Music is developing a VR music experience with EDM artist Kygo. Now, for those of you interested in hearing more from the front runners of the VR arena, please be sure to join the Sony VR sessions right here at MIPCOM. VR provides us all an exciting and new creative frontier, and we want you to share in our excitement about the possibilities of VR to your respective businesses and to imagine the possibility as VR moves beyond games to television, live sporting events, awe-inspiring documentaries, and of course, B2B applications as well. The perspective of my 32 years in this business tells me that there is no limit to what is possible if you stay tuned to the sensibilities and the interests of the consumers and you understand where they're going. And as an entertainment company, we know that audiences ultimately determine how successful you've been in connecting with them. And as a technology company, an innovation enterprise, we are proving that new technologies are vital to enhancing those entertainment experiences. I spoke of Kando earlier because it is my conviction that emotional involvement is at the very essence of what Sony intends to bring to the marketplace. Kando happens when we fully realize the potential at the intersection of technology and storytelling, innovation and creativity, art and engineering. When the creativity of the entertainment community works in concert with the ingenuity of technologists and engineers, there are quite simply no limits. Just last week, the New York Film Festival premiered Billy Lynn's Long Halftime Walk, Sony's new film from Academy Award-winning director Ang Lee. This remarkable movie was filmed in 4K and 3D in 120 frames per second, an unprecedented new format that took full advantage of Sony's top-of-the-line cinema cameras. And Mr. Lee said that with this new style of production, he is experimenting a new visual language for emotional storytelling, and that is what I call kando. Sony grew out of the Japanese spirit of imagination and innovation. Our founders believed in the power of collaboration, and so, inspired by their vision, we hope to work with you to pursue ambitious ideas. Sony is an entertainment company and a technology company, a content creator and an innovator, and we are uniquely positioned to understand and respond to the marketplace. So on behalf of the Japanese creative community, I invite you to partner and collaborate with us in advancing the ways content can be developed and delivered to our customers. Share your boldest ideas so that we can realize them together. We will bring all of the energy and insight of Japan and Sony to contribute to your efforts to expand the power of the collective creativity that you all have. Thank you very much for listening, and have a great MIPCOM 2016. Thank you.
So Kaz, thank you very much for those thoughts, and thank you for agreeing to take a couple of quick questions.
Absolutely.
The theme of this year's MIPCOM is new television. You describe many aspects of new television, this thirst for content which is out there. The only slight problem is though that consumers are showing an increasing reluctance to actually pay for anything. So how do you reconcile these two when we've got cord cutting? Where does the money come from?
I think that the way I would look at it is slightly a little different in that, as I mentioned in my talk as well, that consumers are willing to pay for content that they want and they desire when it's delivered to them in a format that they want to enjoy it in. So it's more of a matter of making sure that we're meeting the consumer's demand, not just in terms of the content, but how it's delivered and where it's delivered. And I think if that's the right combination, the consumers are willing to pay for it. Now, there are a host of other services that provide things for free, and that's an area where I think just collectively as an industry, we need to make sure that there are mechanisms to make sure that we are getting our fair share. Whether it's performance royalties or mechanical royalties, those kinds of things as well.
So, in fact, a different type of innovation, an innovation around pricing, around how to monetize content. That word innovation, you used it. It's probably one of the most overused words in boardrooms around the world.
Yes.
How do you, the guy who sits at the top of this massive organization with a strong history, how do you actually make sure that innovation happens? How do you manage it? And how do you make sure it kind of all fits together?
One of the challenges we have in terms of innovation is probably more on the electronic side of the business, because I mean, in the content side, it's always, it's the creative forces that really innovate each and every day. On the electronic side, it's more making sure that, that innovation is something that comes from the top. So I talk about it all the time. I have a couple of departments that report to me directly that are in charge of coming out with new, what I call wacky products that are like Sony-esque products. We've been successful in doing that over the past several years. And I also make sure that I attend all the meetings when we're talking about these new products. So I set the tone from the top, and people need to know, and they do know, that innovation is expected within the Sony Electronics Group. And I think that we were innovation challenged for a while, but now we've kind of come back over the past 2 or 3 years with some great products that really wow our customers. And once we marry that with the great content we get from gaming company and pictures and music, that's when the magic happens at Sony.
Okay, magic is one thing, synergies are another. So you talk about these different parts of Sony. As you go through the journey of transformation, which you've been on for the last 2 to 3 years, how are you actually realizing those synergies? How are you getting those synergies to actually happen?
I think it's first a very important aspect of what I call One Sony, is to make sure that the management team really understands each other. So I have these meetings at least twice a year, where I have all the executives from the entertainment businesses basically sit down with all the executives from the electronics business in headquarters and basically just talk about business issues. So, for example, the guy that's running the semiconductor facility that's making digital imaging products is going to sit down with the people from Sony Pictures and basically talk business. It never happened before, but we encourage that. That has resulted in, for example, recently would be PlayStation VR, where the Sony engineers, the PlayStation folks, as well as people at Sony Music and Sony Pictures, they all pitch in to provide that, from all the way from content creation all the way down to the actual output of the device, of the content through PlayStation VR, and all the technologies and content plays in between. It's a one Sony effort. Otherwise, it would never have taken off. So that's a great example of something that we've done recently as a real one Sony effort.
And that cultural shift presumably was one of the major challenges you had when you took over, right?
Among others, yes.
Okay. We don't have time for the others.
Oh, actually. I had the privilege of being with the Sony Music folks for 10 years, PlayStation for another 15, and of course, being peripherally involved in Sony all the time. So I had the gift of having different perspectives. And so, when I became president, one of the first things I talked about, once again, was the one Sony, that we need to act as one Sony. And that's something that we talk about all the time. And again, we just need to make sure that all the various businesses are talking to each other, sharing information, and where necessary, when it works for everybody involved, do something together. But I don't force the issue. What I do force is the sharing of the information. And whether you act on it or not, that's something that you decide if it's in your best interest in your business. Fascinating insight. We are out of time. Thank you so much for those thoughts. Please join me in thanking Kazuo Hirai. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you.